Daled. And what he's explaining now is why Bria is called Choshech, Yotzer Oir, Uvoire Choshech. This is all behemshech to the whole discussion of Bereshech HaSheich Hada Nahira. That the whole process of creation begins with Choshech, and moreover, the whole kavan of creation is in the Makom HaChoshech, there should be Gilui. So this is what he's explaining. Not only is Bria called Choshech, what else is called Choshech? Quoting from the Zohar yesterday, even, anyone?
Keter.
Yes, even Keser, Ukom hu lagabe or Kodam ilasa ilos. Kesem is dark in the face of the cause of all causes. How could this possibly be? Especially Yotzer Oir is Olam HaYetzirah, that's Oir. Uvoire Choshech is Olam HaBriah, higher world is dark. She started to explain yesterday. First of all, he said that Olam HaBriah is the beginning of Yishavas Yesh Ma'ayin. Atzilus is not. Atzilus is, as expressed in the very term, Atzilus etzloi v'somuch, near and close. So Atzilus is the revelation of Alikus in an uncompromised way, relatively speaking. Just 1 second, I'm going to just close that. Yeah. Atzilus is Ihu vergamoichad. Even the Kelim of Atzilus are one with Ihu. Now you said Ihu refers to Atzmus, and in brackets added the long quote from Yeres HaKodesh, quoted frequently, namely that creation, Yesh Ma'ayin, is, as we explained yesterday, is only Bechek, that's the Lashon Achsidus, Bechek, within literally the realm, not so literal, but that's what it means, of Atzmus. Only Atzmus can create Yesh Ma'ayin, as we explained yesterday. Oir cannot. Manifestation cannot. So, Ihu v'chayohi, that's true of Atzilus. So Atzilus expresses this truth of Yesh Ma'ayin. And complete the bottle to it. As we know, Yichud Yilah, Bittul B'Metzios, and so on. Whereas, just have to qualify what you just said. Atzilus is not Yesh Ma'ayin, I'm sorry. Atzilus is the Eibishter's misyached with the Kelim of Atzilus to create Yesh Ma'ayin, which means that the Kelim of Atzilus are a Keli for Atzmos, or the expression of Atzmos. Clear? That's the whole point here, that Bria is the beginning of Yesh Ma'ayin. Atzilus is the Koyach Hashem creates the Asar Mamoris. The Asar Mamoris are the 10 spheres of Atzilus. So this creative force, the utterances on the one hand, and different ones for each day, 10 and then 7. So all of these koiches express unqualified, unqualified, I mean, in a way of not compromising, uncompromisingly the koich ha'atzmos, because if they create, it's a koich atzmi, it means the Eibishter himself directly is creating. So that's Atzilus. Now, we keep clear, yeah? Now, we keep on by the number 31 after the round brackets, after the brackets. In summary, he's saying for our purposes here, Atzilus is part of Beira and even higher than Beira, Mamish Atzmos. However, Bria is the beginning of actual creation. Atzilus is the creator, this is creation. Yesh Ma'ayin. So therefore, he's explaining why it's called Choshech, because it's the first creation, therefore it's close to it, this creating force. Ubatal elu betachlis, and Bria is completely nullified. Valachi nikra b'shem chayshech, that's why it's called dark. It's a complement. It's a virtue, not a chsaron. Ki habitul betachlis ahepech inyan ha'oir v'agilui, because absolute bittul is the opposite of oir, which is expression. And likewise, and even deeper, even deeper and truer, as it were, is keser. Keser is also called dark, as the pasuk says, Yoshes Choshech Sisroi. He places his secret in darkness. Not only is it beyond us, and therefore it's called dark, it itself deserves this description of Choshech, conveying its non-expression, meaning oitzem bitulai. It's complete and absolute bittul, which is even greater than, of course, bria to atzilus is keser to oir insof. Everything is relative. The closer to him, is more as if naught and absolute nothingness. The closer to God, not the bigger, the smaller. Now analyzing the quote from the Zohar with a little bit of a new understanding here. This is what it says in Zohar Kesed Elyon, the supernal crown, even though it's a pure and sparkling light. Nonetheless, is dark. It is dark before the cause of all causes. Now he's medaik the diak here. The marsha cause of afalgav, even though, what's the even though? Even though for whom? It's the even though is the wonder, the pella, relative to our perspective. Mugbole hasoga, without limited understanding. Even lagabi chachma datzilus, which is far beyond us. It's also called this pure and sparkling light. And for sure is it, that's the Afal Gav. It's revelation. Even lagabi atzilus, it's revelation. And certainly relative to us, limited of understanding, sheichni botachaymer, dwellers of literally houses of corporeality, of chaymer. Pasuk in Iyov, and we actually invoked that quote on Yom Kippur in one of the piyutim, I forgot which one. Ava lagabi is bodech, that's the Afal Gav. Even though it's oir compared to who? Compared to Atzilus, it's tremendous revelation, and certainly compared to us, Keser is tremendous revelation. A pure and sparkling light. Nonetheless, he concludes, but compared to, all right, I don't know where did I cut off, friends?
Before the Afagav, before the Mipnei, Avalagabi Yisbar, by 34.
Okay, so the Zohar is saying that even though the Chiddush of the Zohar is conveying a Pella, the Dvar Chiddush, that even though Keser is luminous and translucent, it's dark before him. So the Rebbe is explaining it, that even though is only from our perspective, Keser's perspective, Atzilus's perspective, and certainly ours, from our perspective, Keser is an extraordinary revelation. But Lagabe the Eibishter, it's not even though. It's on the contrary, because El Adarab, 4 lines from the bottom of the ice. It's on the contrary, because of its bittul, because it's so sparkling, translucent, and therefore it is silent before him. It claims, as it were, no title to itself. It's all elikus, him. Therefore it's dark in the virtuous sense, bittul, non-expressive of self, but expressive completely or purely of him. Behind the shepchinas keser. In other words, keser is a madrege, it's a rotzen, it's an articulated will, but it's not drawing, it does not draw attention to the virtue of will, Will is a wonderful koyach in nefesh adam, for example. That's not the point of Kesed, will, divine will. The point is, Eibishter's chosen to reveal will. It's his choice of revelation that is its truth, not the virtue of the revelation itself. That's what Kesed is. So Kesed is completely united in bottle to the Eibishter. In other words, again, what's carried through, what's expressed there in Kesed Lagabe is simply his desire to express himself. And it's completely bottled to the Yeshua Amiti, the true being. Ayin the Kesed, from where the ayin, from which the Yesh then emerges, Yesh Ma'ayin of Kesed. V'ayin dovuk bottle la Yesh, and the ayin is bottled to the true Yesh, meaning the Eibishter v'lachein ukumhu, and therefore it is dark. So we're beginning our exploration, understanding of the whole nisave that the Eibishter wants. Dir betachtonim means in choshech. Choshech means down here. Choshech in the literal sense, where godliness is eclipsed. In order to understand choshech down here, we have to understand virtuous choshech. Virtuous choshech is bria, and even higher than that, keser, and so on. So all of this leading us in the end to a deep understanding of kavanah sabriya, the intent, which is dir betachtonim. So it's already extraordinary news, because we're used to thinking of choshech, and that's the point. Here, as you said earlier, quoting from Tanya, there's nothing lower in terms of the hester of Eire Yisbarech. Here's where it's dark. So now we're learning, well, there's a virtuous dark. The point, of course, will be that in the chsaron of choshech should be revealed the mile of choshech. Let's go further in the Maimon. We said yesterday, the Maimon started off very basic and then deep plunge. To understand this idea of the inyan of what? Of the darkness of Keser. With greater explanation, what did we say till now in summary? That the darkness is in one word because of its one word, bittul, right? Now deeper. Hine sa'ayin de Keser shenimshach miyesh amiti. We're going to get a whole explanation now on the inyan of Oyer. The mile of Oyer over.
1 second. So what we're saying basically is the mile of the. I'm trying to put it into words. We call darkness. Sorry, the Eibusher calls darkness somebody that's bottle. It's my shaila. Maybe. Yes, it's crazy. The Eibusher calls darkness. I understand. Torah
is saying
bittul is more light. That's our perspective. But the Eibusher's perspective, bittul means you really you think that's bittul? You could be more. I mean, I'm just trying to understand. I understand everything's perspective. We call Atzilus wow, and the Eibusher says Atzilus no. You're still not it.
No.
Is that's what I'm thinking?
This has to be fixed. No, the Eibishter is saying Ukum is not a chsaron. The Eibishter is saying it's Maila.
So you're calling black is beautiful?
The emes is okay. The emes says that a simple rendering of the Zohar is bringing out, compared to the Eibishter, it is dark. That's taka true, that the simple meaning of the Zohar is to bring out that compared to God, everything is of no significance or dark. But the nuance here is that it's not a put down, it's not a chsaron, but a maila. It's a maila. Because of its bittul, it is dark, non-expressive. Like we explained, dark means here dark when it comes to bria, and more so in Keser, is a compliment, is a praise, is a
virtue.
Virtue, that's a better, is a virtue. The virtue is, again, that it calls no attention to itself. The prompt, as I said before, Rotz, Kesed is Rotz. Willpower is a tremendous koyach. But we're saying L'Gabed Eibishter, there is no virtues. There are only virtues if he chooses to express himself that way. And that's exactly what Kesed expresses. Kesed does not express the virtue of Rotzen. What Kesed expresses is the Eibishter's choice to reveal something which he has called and described and manifests as Rotzen. So the Rotzen part, the Kesed part is Uko, is dark, meaning to say it's not like in Kesed. So what is the experience there? Wow, a powerful will. This will that can do anything, whatever descriptive and mindless there are to Rotzen. That's not what's conveyed there. What's conveyed in Kesed is the Eibishter's choice to reveal Kesed, to reveal Rotzen. Whereas we, now to continue, and we look at it, h'tשכ, it's the virtue of Rotzen, not lost on us that it's the Eibishter's choice to reveal himself that way. Even us sitting Nilam Hazer, Sheichni Batachomer. But the virtue of Rotzen is a virtue, like Chachma is and Bina is. These things already start to have inherent value. And the lower down Ishtalshalos you go, the more they become inherently valuable. And the more is eclipsed. The only value is because this was the choice of Atzmos to reveal himself that way. That's not lost in Kesed. As he says here, at the end of the previous ayah, mitzad the Eibishter, el adrab, b'pnei hayoysa keser h'tשכ u'metzuchtzach, l'chein ukamhu. Because of its true, uncompromised revelation, it is dark, meaning it expresses no value, notwithstanding its tremendous virtue and midah and aspect. It expresses no value other than this is God's choice to reveal himself that way. So it's ukam, bittul. So that's what h'tשכ means in conclusion. That's what h'tשכ means l'mayla. It's the greatest virtue. H'tשכ l'mata means godliness concealed, the greatest chesaron. The Pele, so what's the kavan of Dirib Tachton? Where's he driving? That the two become revealed as one. Meaning to say, where the greatest chesaron is, which is Elam Hazeh, where God's concealed h'tשכ kepshutai, be'emes is the potential for and will be revealed the virtuous h'tשכ, the highest form of h'tשכ, the greatest bittul to elikus, atzmos revealed in the deepest way. That's where the Maimon is going.
Less me, more him.
Yeah, but already the nuance to be appreciated here is that the kavon of Dirib Tachtonim is not about replacing, changing reality. The nuance, the beauty here is that Adarabah, the reality that we have that is it's chesaron, it's hell and v'hester, there's division here. It's a terrible place, this world, until it's fixed. So it's not that it's going to be replaced with revelation and utopia and heaven on earth, and that's the end of the world's chesroinus, resistance. No, he's saying that the h'tשכ gufa, h'tשכ atzma yoir, that the h'tשכ itself will become expressive of the virtuous h'tשכ of Kesed and L'maylim b'Kesed. This is the whole chiddush of Chassidus in a word. That, as we said the other day, that the feeling of yeshes that we have, dafka ne'elam hazeh, which is the ultimate h'tשכ, feel completely independent. Where does this independence come from? This is dafka, the expression of the yesh amiti. Not doing away with this. We're just revealing where this comes from in the deepest way. This is such a revolution. That the darkness itself is not going to be illuminated with light and banished and dispelled. No. Where he is concealed and was the greatest chsaron and pain, therefore, tzara, the tzara becomes the tzayha, not something else. The tears of pain become the tears of joy, not that they're wiped away and they're replaced with tears of joy. They become the tears of joy. That's Dira B'Tachtoin. That's what he's saying here in the most sublime and profound way, which we need to understand all the nuance. Okay, so again, Be'ez Hashem will continue. We'll continue on Monday.